Hi guys, Michael here. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about the differences between acute and chronic inflammation. I just want to give you guys an overview of that, and you guys have probably have experience with it, or you guys have probably heard of others talking about it. But I think what I want to get into a little bit more is that times are changing, and we need to look a little bit beyond and look more specifically into things. And so a couple things that help reduce that acute and chronic inflammation are you can use an ice and heat pack. Those two things help. They go hand in hand. For the first 48 to 72 hours, you should be icing on and off. And then after that, you should be using heat. He will bring in the blood circulation, will promote better nutrients, give better flow to the region that you're having pain in. And so forth, you can also eat the right foods. You got to make a diet change. That's why you're having that inflammation to begin with, whether it's acute or chronic. And if you have chronic, it's going to be far worse for you. You just got to make the different eating decisions, eating, wheats, eating the right vegetables, not night vegetables. There's a difference between that, the right fruits, what fruits to eat, what other meals to combine. And I have all that information for you already in my articles built up. The other ones are to stress. How do you overcome inflammation? Stress is a key component. Your mind is a key component. Cognitive behavior, and I always emphasize that you can have the other two, but if you don't have the right mentality about it, your mind is going to trigger everything else. So that's where your mentality comes into play. Is it's going to help accelerate and increase your process with eating better, and then applying a ice and heat pack. It accelerates that, and it ensures you're doing better. The fourth one I would say is natural remedies. Natural remedies is something that we need. I know natural ways and natural remedies are two different things. Natural ways is just everything from top to bottom, from exercising all the way down to natural remedies. That's gonna be natural. Exercising, eating the right foods, doing the right workouts, how to naturally relieve your lower back pain, how to relieve your back pain, and so forth. The other ones combined are, neuropathic and homeopathic stimulants, such as you have herbs, you have essential oils, and you have CBD oils. And sometimes we get confused and we wonder which ones are the right ones for us to use. And there's a place to start and a place to end for everybody. Everybody is different, and I think more so it's not that we don't know which one. It's that we have more of a preference when it comes to this. It's more of a preference thing than it is having to choose one. So it's like we all could use those three, but we all decide we want something else because we're so stuck in our ways, and we don't like being told what to do. And so, like for herbs, for example, I know that a lot of the older generation would go with herbs, with turmeric, with curcumin, things of that nature, and they are helpful. And then there are, the younger generation who's getting into essential oils, and those are the ones that I recommend too. They're just as helpful. They're both anti-inflammatory properties. They just have different ingredients, herbs, and you have essential oils that act differently to relieve different parts of your body, muscle, joints, and then they specialize in different ones. And then you have CBD oil, which it's a neuropathic. It's going to block the pain signals from getting to your brain, and that's often one that I would see a lot of people who are trying to transition from using opioids or using opioids to go into CBD oil, using that rather than that. And so that's one way too. And then with herbs, I can make the case that with herbs, it's actually a better alternative than using NSAIDs, using like ibuprofen and naproxen and things that of that nature. That if you continue to use over time, it's not good for you. It's not gonna end up how you think it will. Those are more counterintuitive, counter-effective. Essential oils are the same way. They can replace NSAIDs and ibuprofens and naproxens and those. Can I say it? It's gonna remove opioids. It depends on what stage you're at. If you are, into opioids, I would recommend not. You can use it though as like a way to relieve muscles and stuff like that. But if you're looking to transition away from using opioids at that stage, go into something like kratom, and then CBD oil is the right way to go. And so for herbs, you know, you could be taking herbs while you're in very bad chronic pain, and that'll help too. It's another way. But you can't climb out from opioids to herbs directly. That's not a way to do it, nor opioids to essential oils. I like all three of them. I use all three of them, and I have videos, and I talk about that if you see some of my other videos. But I talk about how I can implement all three of them if I have acute or chronic inflammation and how they help. You know, more so I talk about how essential oils are great for both, but I also like it more for chronic inflammation. Only because it's a need. There's more of a need there, and there's the cost factor if you don't want to spend money, reoccurring money on it. I mean, that's a thing. But more so a problem is that we're so stuck in our ways that we don't get away from using drugs. We just stick to them, and we, you know, don't I don't want to blame you, and I don't want to play that game, because you know what I mean. Like it's hard to tell somebody to get off of that. But when I provide them with a lot of help and a lot of treatment options and a lot of different natural ways to do things right, especially within my website, it's like, don't say I didn't tell you so, but you know, there are ways to go about it, and you know, natural remedies are a good alternative, and you should really look into doing natural remedies and natural ways of relieving your lower back. So I just want to leave you with that, and just kind of differentiate the differences between acute and chronic pain, and how to go about it, chronic inflammation. Because everything that leads to pain starts with inflammation. It doesn't matter if you have a small wound or if you've been in a large injury, it all starts with inflammation. And it ends up and it ends up with the fibrin, it ends up with the enzymes, it ends up with everything clotting. And so it starts with inflammation. It just depends on where you're at. You know, with chronic pain, it's going to go over, and it's going to go over a couple days, and then you'll feel it. And then with acute pain, you feel it right away. And so you got to understand how that works. And not alone can you just exercise. Not alone can you just eat right. Not alone can you just practice mental habits. Not alone can you just consume a natural remedy. It's best to combine all four of them if you can. And try to do them on a consistent basis. Because if you say, okay, I'm going to do them one day, that one day out of 2 days, out of every other day, it's like, try to keep a consistent program about it. But yeah, that's what I want to leave you guys with, and just let you know that there are differences between the two, and what necessities you can use for them. Okay, thank you.